Hi, I'm Scott Goldfine, Editor-in-Chief and Associate Publisher of Security Sales and Integration. And I'm delighted to have with me today John Croce, President and CEO of NVT Phybridge. He is an expert on our topic of key video surveillance trends for security integrators. John, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Great. It's great to be here, and thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure. Let's dive right in.
All right.
What do you see as being some of the most promising video surveillance opportunities for integrators today?
Well, several opportunities I see. Firstly, obviously, the move to cloud-based solutions and what it represents to be able to create some recurring revenue models for the integrators. And also the opportunity to expand wallet share, being that many integrators view the network requirements as out of scope, and they're allowing the customer to address those requirements. And I see a huge opportunity for our integrator partners to introduce innovative approaches to allowing their customers to modernize to IP in a manner which would be very different than what would be recommended by a network integrator.
Mm-hmm. So what do you see as some keys to their success in accomplishing that?
Well, a couple of things. If we take a look at the whole opportunity within networks, what we need to understand, especially the security integrators, and what I'm seeing, because as a business, we deal with both security integrators as well as integrators on the communication and voice side. And what we're seeing is the integrators on the voice and communication side, which have relationship with IT teams and network requirements, see physical security as a significant growth opportunity to look to capture the physical security aspects of a customer's need as they look to upgrade their network to support that. So in essence, that's a threat. However, the opportunity is to actually take a proactive approach towards addressing that network requirement, understanding that a me too approach doesn't work. And what I mean by that is going to a customer, understanding that their relationship may be with the physical security team, and now you need to be introduced to the IT team who makes a decision on network. But going to them with a me too approach, where me too you need to rip and replace infrastructure, me too you need to go through risk and disruption and not know whether financially it's going to be within budget to get that backbone in place. That's not going to work. What you can do is go in with a whole new innovation, be a thought leader with that customer saying, hey, you know what? Have you heard of Modern LAN Principles by Frost and Sullivan? Because what we're talking about here is modernizing the IoT endpoints, in this case, a physical security camera, access control, but that's part of the IoT movement. And the reality is that there are many providers who are still stuck in traditional network design thinking, looking at telling you that the only way to get to an IP-based solution is to rip and replace infrastructure. Well, these Modern LAN Principles by Frost and Sullivan take a whole different approach, and it introduces innovative ways to allow the customers to modernize to IP. So now you're going to an IT director solving their problems around cybersecurity, concern around cybersecurity, concerns around disruption, around cost, around network reliability, and complexity for their teams. You're going in with a whole fresh approach that is very different than the network provider. So I see it as a huge opportunity for system integrators to take this message aggressively to their customers, doing two things. A, protecting their base, knowing that that base is under attack from a new competitor, but B, going with a fresh approach to the IT team. And we as a company have come up with all kinds of tools to support that success.
The situation seems analogous to me to, the first roadways that were made for the first cars, and then how that, evolved over time.
True, exactly.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
So let's talk a little bit about those tools and what the integrators should look for in a vendor partner to help them accomplish that.
Well, I think in a vendor partner, what's critically important is vendor partners need to realize that it's not about their technology. And again, when I first got involved in the technology industry, what was very apparent to me is that technology partners tend to view things from the features and capabilities of their solution and look to push those out to the customer with not enough empathy and understanding of what it took for the customer to implement those solutions within their business, ensuring that they drive a return on investment. But just as important, what is the impact on their community of integrators and service providers? And will those integrators and service providers be able to effectively deliver those new technologies in a manner which allows them to make good enough margins to sustain their business? And this is where, when you look at a vendor, technology vendor, make sure that technology vendor doesn't look from their technology, but more about how could their technology help you grow their business? Are they committed to your success, not only their own? So that's where, when I was excited to be one of the founders of this company, because Oliver Emanuel, who invented this technology, came to me and said, hey, I got this opportunity, here's what we do. And because I didn't have any clue about network strategies, I viewed things very simply. Is it first good for the customer in which is looking to implement this technology within their business? And second, is it good for those who serve the customer? So if you're going in with that mindset, before you introduce any new innovation, you have those things covered, so that when you do introduce those innovations, you have a higher probability for success, not only for the customer, but for the integrator. I'll give you an example where we did, I think it was 7,000 cameras, handheld cameras, in 200 plus locations, where they used our clear switch, which allowed them to leverage the existing coax. And they were able to accelerate that modernization by years. They were able to avoid the rip and replace, meaning they were environmentally responsible in their modernization. They simplified network requirements. So what did it mean to the integrator? A better experience for the end user. More of the budget went to better endpoints and applications and not to infrastructure, because they saved in excess of $1 million. But it's not that necessarily the customer saved $1 million. They actually were able to free up $1 million worth of budget to allocate to other things, which is more important for the customer and, frankly, better margin business for the reseller. But for the integrator, so for the integrator and the manufacturer, it meant they accelerated the time to revenue. Well, if you accelerate time to revenue and create simplicity in business process, it means you can offer a more fair price to the customer, yet still enhance your margin. Because it's not just about top line revenue, it's about what is my net margin I make after supporting this customer. And that's the kind of outcomes that we could help create. And when you look at a vendor partner, make sure those vendor partners have empathy towards the importance of ensuring that you have a profitable business.
That's the kind of solution that builds a long-term relationship for that integrator too.
Correct. Very valid. And that's really important to us, is that we're not here for the transaction. We are here to support the strategic development of our partnership, because partnership is defined as sharing in risk and reward. That's a true partner. Everyone uses that term very freely. I want to be your partner, but no, I want all the reward and I don't want the risk. Right? Well, we believe a partnership is sharing risk and reward, and that is we're willing to put the time, energy, and effort behind building tools and solutions that work for our partners. And what we ask in return is the time and effort and commitment in return to bring us to your customers, to help achieve a better outcome for them and for the integrator.
Speaking a little more specifically about those solutions, you mentioned one in that example, but could you go a little more into one or two that you'd like to highlight?
Sure. If you look at the solutions that are really important for the physical security industry, is we have our Clear family of switches. And what they are is a series of switches that deliver Ethernet and PoE over existing coax infrastructure with up to 6,000 feet. Now, there are other solutions that do that, and we pride ourselves on being one of the only companies that have managed switches, unmanaged switches, and single port extender solutions leveraging that same technology. And we have deployments like the one I mentioned earlier that are thousands of endpoints. Actually, one is Il Cortese Inglés, a retailer in Europe that is ultimately looking to do 35,000 cameras in all their retail stores using our Clear family of switches. And what's we're really proud of is performance. It's not only making claims, like we have testings and we provide this. You talked about the tools for your partners for being successful. We have test results of comparing a Cisco Catalyst 2960 switch over 250 feet of CAD5E compared to our Clear switch on 2,000 feet of RG6 cable. And as it relates to throughput, latency, and packet loss, our performance is similar to the Cisco Catalyst switch. Now, we did do performance testing on some of the competing Ethernet over coax switches, and the performance is horrendous. It's nowhere near the capabilities of the Catalyst switch or ours. Now, we do that because one of the things we get from our integrator partners is, hey, I used an Ethernet over coax solution in the past and it didn't work. It hurts our industry. So we have to do this kind of performance validation to illustrate to our partners that we are different. The technology, our IP is different, and we have the evidence and proof. So again, we work very hard to prove them. So we have the coax solutions. And when you look at the cameras deployed globally, many of them are on a coax backbone. And we talked earlier about cloud and the beauty of cloud being a huge trend. Well, think about the infrastructure. You have the coax infrastructure, you have analog cameras, you have all of that coming to a single location, you have your digital video recorder. Now you need to move to IP. Well, with our Clear switch, no need to concern the IT teams. You can provide a completely separate backbone, IP enabling that coax and deploying IP cameras. And the beauty of this is we had customers who didn't have enough budget to do the entire location. And because that coax is point to point, we started with the highest value locations, entries of a school, and said, you know what, why don't we deploy those to IP first, which is simple because now you can pick the coax and light those endpoints to IP. And as budget comes available, you can gracefully modernize the rest of the endpoints. So now you can deliver a cloud solution that aligns with the customer's budget, but in a manner which makes it incredibly simple for that customer. Beauty is you got no dependency on a data network. You don't have any finger pointing of the customer going, well, is it the network or is it the camera? Which one is not providing good service? You see what I'm saying? It's that you have that difference. So this is where our solution fits into that. And then we have our Flex family, which is 50 watts of power over 2 or 4 pair UTP infrastructure. Again, managed, unmanaged, and single port extender solutions. In all of our families, we have ample number of customer case studies from large enterprise and government down to a mom and pop shop who used our extender solutions.
Excellent. Well, I think you have it all covered there. You have the applications, the performance, the ROI. You've covered, I think, every base for the integrator. So very excited.
Yeah, thank you. And we're really excited to launch, we're going to be launching our ACE partner program, which is intended for the integrator branches to help them really grow their business. So we have special discounts that we're offering them, as well as go-to-market strategies to help differentiate them and be thought leaders in their community. So we're excited to get these programs out. We're looking to launch that in September, October timeframe.